This is in the second chapter of Pancadashi. With the famous mantra from the sixth chapter of Chandogya Upanishad, Sadeva Somya Idam Agre Asi, Ekam Eva Advitiyam, Swamiji explains the idea. The 18th shloka introduces the Idam Shabdam. The 19th shloka says, before creation, only Ekam Advitiyam Sat was there. Even name and form were not there before creation. In the 20th shloka, Vidyaranya Swamiji uses the example of the tree to establish that there is no difference in the Sat and shows that there are three Bhedas in the tree, like Swagata Bheda, Sajatiya Bheda, and Vijatiya Bheda. In the 21st shloka, it is said that these three Bhedas are not there in Sat. It says that Ekam, which establishes the Aikya Avadharanam, negates the Swagata Bheda, Eva negates the Sajatiya Bhedam, and Vijatiya Bheda is negated with Advitiya. Shloka 22 continues with the same idea and once again emphasizes that Ekam negates Swagata Bheda, Eva negates Sajatiya Bheda, and Advitiyam negates Vijatiya Bheda. Shloka 23 discusses Swagata Bheda. It is logically established that there is no Swagata Bheda because Sat is without Avayavam, that is, it is without parts. This is because before creation, there was no name and form, and parts can be differentiated only with name and form. Since it is not there, there is no Swagata Bheda, and the example of space is used to explain the idea, as space is also without parts. Shloka 24 says that before creation, there was nothing belonging to the same category of Sat. We can talk about Sajatiya Bheda only if there are different things belonging to the same category. Here, there is no second Sat belonging to the same category. So, there is no Sajatiya Bheda. Shloka 25 says that there are no things present in the universe belonging to different categories other than Sat. Even Asat, that is the opposite of Sat, is not there. That is, non-existence is not there. To say that there is non-existence also, isness has to be there. Then you will have to deny your own existence. That is not possible. Therefore, Brahman always exists. Hence, Advaita philosophers cannot deny anything in this world. They do not have or do not accept opposition. This is how Sajatiya, Vijatiya, and Swagata, the three types of differences, are discussed. Swamiji elaborated on all these ideas. We have to do mananam and understand these very clearly. So saying, Swamiji concluded the class. Hari Om.
Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vante Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagini Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Shri Shankarananda Gurupadam Bhujanmane Savilasa Grahagraseka Karmane. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There was a declaration from Chandogya Upanishad. There the Rishi Udhalaka proclaimed that Ekameva Advidiyam Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit Ekameva Advidiyam. So this is how we started the subject. The Sad Eva Saumya Idamagra Asit Ekameva Advidiyam. Ekam Eva Advidiyam. So by these three words, Sajadiya, Vijadiya, Swagata, Bhedas. So there can be three types of differences or Bheda. So those Bhedas are negated here. So now the 26th Shloka. Now we enter into the discussion of what is this Sat and how it is experienced, and what about it, what the other Acharyas says about it. So other Acharyas all Advaita Acharyas, what they say about this Sat, how they experienced it. Ekameva dvidiyam sat siddhamatra tu kechana vihvala asadevedam purasidityavarnayan. So ekameva dvidiyam sat siddhamatra tu kevalam kechana vihvalaha asadeva idam purasidityavarnayan. So, some of the Acharyas here, mainly the Shunyavadis, the school of Shunyavada of Buddhism. So they have a test or the school called Madhyamika school of thought. This is one school of Buddhism. There are mainly four schools of Buddhism. Among them, this Madhyamika school is called Shunyavadi, because they say the Shunyam, non-existence, or the absence of everything, is the ultimate reality. So now we will discuss that today. So here the Vidyaranya Mahaswami says, we have established that Ekameva Dvidiyam in the last Slokas. We have studied it. So that is established. Ekameva Dvidiyam Sad Siddham. So that Sad, the pure existence, is Ekam Eva Advidiyam. That is only one without a second. So that has been established. Now in this context, Kechana Vihvala. So Kechana, some philosophers who are confused with this test. Vihvalaha means they are utterly confused. Then they say, Asadeva idam pura asit iti avarnayan. They said, before creation, there was only asat. It means non-existence or void. There was no existence at all. Or we can say nothingness was there. It is something they talk about it. So in next maybe 6-7 shlokas, we will discuss this. Now, the logic behind it is, before creation, if anything is created, before creation, that object doesn't exist. This is our experience. So when we create something, we make something, we know it was not there before. Now, what we call it, we say there was absence of that object. Any object you can take, the absence of book, absence of a house, absence of vehicle, absence of anything. So before the creation of that particular object, certainly it was not there. Why? If it was there, then why we create it? What is the use of that creation? Why we create it? Therefore, logically we have to assume that before creation, that particular object was not there, its presence was not there, it was non-existing, it was non-being. So this is the idea. Okay. Now the object is created, that we call it as present. Now the object is present. Now, after some time, that same object is destroyed. The same thing happens. After destruction, we say that object is no more. So before creation, that object was not there. And after destruction, that object is no more. So before and after, the object which we experience in present is non-existent. Okay, so what does it mean? They have a logic. Ado andecha yadnasti vartamaneja tattatha. They say which is not there before creation and which is not there after destruction, in between also it cannot exist, because it is without existence before and without existence after. So why we call it a reality in between? So let it be non-real before and after and present, in middle. So this is the logic they use. If reality is existing, then it must exist in all the three stages. But it doesn't. Therefore, what we say, pura asid iti avarnayan. Yani before creation, there was asat, non-existence. Means nothingness was there. So what existed there? Nothingness existed. Can we say this? Let us think about it. Now, the language we are going to talk is like, no, it is like, it's not a normal language. Now we have to talk about Sat and we have to talk on Asat. Now Sat means existence, Asat means non-existence or nothingness, whatever we call it. Now, why they are confused with this? So the Sloka says, Vihvalaha asadevam purasi Vidyaranya. They are confused because the logic doesn't fit there. Before creation, if that object is existing, why we create at all? So it means that it is non-existent before. We all accept this. Before the birth of a child, we don't say the child is existing. This is the problem with us. Because we see what appears to us, what appears in front of us. We can't see what is not appearing. But can we say if the child is not non-existent before birth? No. Child was existing before birth. So that was in some other form. But the non-existence of child is never be. It cannot be. So the form changes. When it appears, it takes birth, we see it. We could perceive it with our sense organs. But in that level, before birth, it is unperceivable. Therefore, we are saying that child doesn't exist or the birth of the child is not there. Okay. So this is how they are thinking. Therefore, they are confused. The next sloka says, Magnasyabdho yathakshani vihvalani tathasya dhihi akhande garasam shrutva nisprachara vibhetyataha. Why they are afraid of this? The reason is, for example, Magnasya abdau yathakshani vikvalani. Oh, a man who is submerged in water. Abdau. Abdau means it is ocean. He is submerging in ocean. So Magnasya abdau yatha akshani. So how he is feeling in that ocean because he is going to die. So vihvalani. So he is crying there and his mind is stuck and he don't know what to do. He is struggling for his life. So in that condition, his mind is baffled with fear and he is so much really struggling for existence. So Magrasya Abdhau Yatha Akshani. Akshani means organs, sense organs and other organs. Vihvalani. So he is struggling for life because he is drowned in deep waters of sea. Now in that condition, what would happen to the mind of that person? Tatha asya dhihi akhandaikarasam shrutva nishpracharaha vipiti. Here Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji says, because Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji is a great poet. He has so much poetry in him because he wrote Shankara Digvijayam, a poetry on Shankaracharya. So there we can see his poetic talents. So he says, the person who is drawn into deep water, struggling for his life, what would be his mind? His mind will be stunned and baffled with fear. Similarly, these people know, they don't understand. By hearing Akhanda Ekarasam, when they learn about Brahma, which is undivided, Akhanda Ekarasam, undivided reality as Brahman. There is no second, there is no Dvaitam, duality. So hearing that, Nishpracharaha Vibheti, their mind is nervous. They are nervous because they are afraid of this non-dual Brahman. They say, if there is no second, there is nothing else, then what would happen to us? So, because of this, they want to make some story. They want to change this concept. They don't know why Upanishad says all this. Therefore, they are afraid of this. So, when somebody is afraid in this condition, what would he do? What can you do? He will be saying something, and if his mind is nervous, he will say something which has no logic, no understanding. So Acharya says this is what is happening. They are all afraid of this Advaita Brahma, this undivided, non-dual Brahman. They don't want to accept it. They are unable to understand it. Therefore, they are making all these stories. They themselves know these stories are not correct, but they don't want to accept all this. Therefore, they are struggling with their own mind and intellect. So, magnasya abdho yadakshani tatha asya dhihi akhandegarasam srutva nishprapa prachara vibheti. Nishprachara means it is stuck, stunned. It cannot move. It cannot think. So that is the condition. So they are imagining something. They are trying to know something which is not existing. So they brought this idea, the non-existence of reality. They say they use the word reality. And what is that reality? Reality is shunyam, means non-existence. How can this possible? If something is real, only mind can receive the object as existing. Mind cannot receive non-existence as reality. So there is no idea conveyed through this. Therefore, it is totally wrong to say before this creation, there was nothing, no stuff. The vacuum was there. It was totally non-existing. It cannot say, because from non-existence, existence cannot come out. Existence can come from a different existence. Like from existence of clay, we can produce jar. The existence of jar comes from the existence of clay. If clay is non-existent, then how you can produce jar from non-existence? It is not possible. So this is the 27th shloka. The next shloka is saying, quoting from Gaudapada Acharya. Gaudacharya nirvikalpe samadhavanya yoginam sakara brahma nishthanam atyandam bhayamuchire. So here Vidyaranya Mahaswamiji says, no, it's not only from other schools like Shunyavadam and Buddhist schools, but even from our schools, Vedantic schools, there are some philosophers, they say Brahman is Sakara. It means Brahman has a shape. So they want to meditate on Brahman with a shape. So they want a Brahman with a form, something to meditate on. So Sakara Brahma Nisthana. They want to meditate on that super consciousness Brahman with a form. And for them, if you say something that no, Brahman has no form, no name, it is like Akhanda Ekarasam, undivided, it is only Sat Chit Ananda. Hearing that, they say, no, 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 this is not right, because we are meditating on that Brahman with all the qualities, the maximum qualities possible. They add on qualities on Brahman. So they are also afraid of this Brahman. No, not only the other schools of other philosophers, but from our school of philosophy also, some people are afraid of this non-dual Brahman, Nirvishesha Brahma, the Brahman without attribution, without qualities. So they say it cannot be. Who says this? Gaudapada Acharya, our great Acharya, the grand guru of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, Bhagavatpada's guru is Govinda Bhagavatpada. Govinda Bhagavatpada's guru is Gaudapada Acharya. So the Gaudapada Acharya become grand guru of Shankaracharya Bhagavan. So what he says? Gauda Acharya says, Nirvikalpe Samadho Anya Yoginam. In that highest meditation, transcendental meditation, or the abstract meditation, where you don't feel anything, any object other than you, we can call it as a subjective meditation. You meditate on yourself. No object is required there. So that's called Nirvikalpa. Vikalpa means object, qualities, qualification, attributions are called Vikalpas. Mainly the name and form. The name is an attribution. Form is also an attribution. So without name and form, in that abstract level of meditation, you experience yourself without qualities, without form. Even in deep sleep, we know already, we have discussed it detailed in many times. When we go to deep sleep, we experience ourselves without qualities. We experience our reality, our purest form, without name, forms, and all the qualities. Okay, so in Gaudapada Acharya says, in that state of meditation, abstract meditation, deep meditation, where there is no second. Anya yogina, the other yogis, the so-called yogis, they don't understand this and they don't get this meditation. So they say we must accept Sakara Brahmanistha. We must accept Sakara Brahma also. Otherwise, we don't find anything there. We need some object. So the objectless Brahman cannot be the reality. The Brahman with quality is also a reality. Why they say this? Because fear of non-entity Brahma, then what would happen to us? We have no choice but to accept the Sakara Brahma, because we want exist, we want to keep our identity. So fear of non-entity. So they fear from that. Atyandam bhayamujire. So they don't like Nirvikalpa. They are agitated with the Nirvikalpa without qualities. Therefore, they accept it and then they talk on that and they try to prove it. This is also right. So they make Brahman in many forms. They say Nirvikalpa Brahma is not acceptable until the moksha, no, liberation. Before liberation, you can't accept Nirvikalpa Brahma. So before creation, you have to follow Savikalpaka Brahma only, Sakara Brahma only. That is what they say. In a way, they are right, because some sadhakas need some support, some mental support for meditation and prayers. For that, we can use that. But while we meditate on Sakara Brahma, we have to remember that Sakara Brahman is not ultimate. Sakara Brahman is one step before attaining the Nirvikara Brahma, Nirvikalpaka Brahma, the Brahma without qualities. So this is how the Buddhist school of Shunyavada, they reached this point. Then they said, we don't see anything existing there. We don't see any qualities there. So there is no existence. That is how they fell into this Shunyavada. So here now Gaudapada Acharya is directly quoted here. Asparsa yogo namesha durdasya sarva yogibhi yogino bibhyadihyasmad bhaye bhayadarshinaha. Now you see some interesting point. Now you know many types of yogas. You know karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, gatha yoga, and raja yoga, laya yoga, and so on. So many yogas are there now. Each school of yogas, they bring their own yoga. Now you have not heard about this Asparsa yoga. Now in Vedanta, we have a Asparsa yoga. Asparsa yoga. So what is this Asparsa yoga? Yoga means, you know, this is a sadhana. Asparsa means, we can say, contactless. The yoga, you have all the contacts. So now this Asparsa yoga is contactless or unrelated, or we can say non-union yoga. Non-union yoga. This is a yoga called Asparsa yoga. There is no sparsha, no touching. So our Gaudapada Acharya gave this name as Asparsa Yoga. So we do not come in contact with Brahman. Okay, people think, people like to have contact with God. They like to talk to God. So they want the appearance of God in front of them. This is how we meditate on God. Okay, but this Brahman is Asparsa Yoga. So we can't contact Brahman. So contact with Brahman is not possible. We do not come in contact with Brahman. That's the first step. Then it means there is no Brahman. If you don't come in contact with Brahman, means you have not realized Brahman, you have no touch of Brahman. No, it is not like that. We can't come in contact with Brahman, yet we come in contact with Brahman. We are with Brahman, or we are Brahman. So when I say I am Brahman, if I can feel it, I don't think that I should contact Brahman, I should touch Brahman, I would hold Brahman. I won't think that. If I am a human being, okay, I believe that I am a human being. So now you don't feel, you don't think that I have to touch that, no, I am that human being. You have to touch that humanity. So that this human being, you are human being, you cannot touch it, you cannot hold it, and you cannot lose it, because you are human being. So the one human being cannot leave it away. Similarly, Brahman cannot be known as an object. You cannot leave Brahman. You cannot touch Brahman. You cannot hold Brahman. So therefore, the yoga is called Asparsa Yoga. It is contactless. Because yoga people say union. No, here there is no union. So Asparsha Yogo Nama Esha Durdarsha Sarva Yogi Bhihi. Now the second sentence says this is our yoga is called Asparsha Yoga, but Sarva Yogi Bhihi Durdarshaha. So this Asparsha Yoga cannot be realized by other yogis, Sarva yogis, the so-called yogis. They can't see it. Why? The reason is Yogino Bibhyadi Hyasmat Abhaye Bhayadarshanaha. All those so-called yogis, they are afraid of this yoga. This Vedantic Asparsha Yoga, they are very much afraid. How they are afraid? Why they are afraid? Gaudapada Acharya says, Abhaye Bhayadarshinaha. Actually, there is no fear in Brahman. Brahman is Abhaya. Bhaya means fear. Abhaya means fearless. So Brahman is fearless by nature. But these so-called yogis, so-called sadhakas, they see fear in fearless Brahman. Their mind is frightened by hearing this unqualified Brahman. They say the highest super consciousness, how come it be unqualified? How can it be unqualified? We should bring all the qualities for that Brahman. So that is their idea. Therefore, when Vedanta unqualifies this Brahman, they say, oh, this Brahman is not existing. We are afraid of this Brahman because we are unable to conceive it. We are unable to conceive without qualities. You have to put some qualities there. Otherwise, how can you say something exists? When Vedanta says Sat, Sadeva idamagra asit, Ekameva advitiyam. The Upanishad says, oh, Sat means how that Sat, how that existence. The existence must be connected with some qualities, some qualification. Without qualification, without qualities, how can you say something exists? Without name, without form. Therefore, these so-called yogis, sadhakas, seeing fear in this naturally fearless Brahman. So they are confused. That is why it said, Vikhvalaha sadevaitam. They are confused with this. They are frightened with this. They are unable to accept this concept. So this is something wonderful. The whole the Vedanta is talking about nirvikalpa. It is talking about something which cannot be achieved with intellect. The intellection cannot come there. So how can you see something without intellect? It says, Yato vacho nivartande aprahapya manasasaha. So the mind doesn't go there. Intellect cannot receive it. Then what is it? So therefore, people are afraid. People here, they are the yogis. Yogis means they are sadhakas. They are philosophers. So they cannot accept it. So they deny it. They try to deny and teach you. You don't go to Vedanta because Vedanta, you cannot understand it. You cannot practice it. Let it be there. You practice this, practice that. You practice some meditation, some pranayama or something. They will take you other way because they don't allow you to go to this Vedanta reality. The reason is this. So the next shloka says, even now traditionally our Vedanta tradition, now first here we quoted from Gaudapada Acharya's Mandukya Karika, and the next shloka is saying about Bhagavatpada Shankaracharya. So what he says about this? Bhagavat Pujya Padascha Shushka Tarka Patu Namun Ahur Madhyamikan Branta Nachintesmin Sadatmani. What Bhagavatpada Shankaracharya says in his commentaries on Brahma Sutras. He says, Bhagavat Pujya Padaha, highly respected Bhagavatpada Shankara. He comment on this Madhyamikas, Shunyavadas. He says, they are Shushka Tarka Padu. They are dry logic experts. You know what does it mean? Shushka Tarka Padun. Shushka means dry. Tarka means logic. Padun means experts. So they are very expert in putting dry logic without experience. Dry logic means, what does it mean? The logic without experience. It is not empirical. It is not practical. So they say something. They put so much effort to bring out such logics. When you read their books, no, you will be stunned with their logic, how they bring logic to disprove what you experience. Now they say there is no connection with objects, there is no relation, there is no relativity, and everything exists without a foundation and without a cause. So there is no cause and effect relation. There is a book called Madhyamika Karika. If you like to read about this, you can read that book, Nagarjuna's Madhyamika Karika. That is called Madhyamika Karika. So interesting, very, very interesting to read it, but you will laugh on them how they put all these logics. They say, how can you prove an object is existing if that object is based on something else? It is dependent on something else. So they say no object is independent. All the objects are dependent. So you cannot prove an object without other. Therefore, which is dependent on others cannot be reality. Now, for example, what they say, this is not my words. I am remembering and quoting from their words. Okay. You should not laugh on me, what I am going to say. If you have doubt, you can bring that book and read. So what they say, now there is a father, there is a son. Okay. Or a mother or a child. Mother and son. Father and son. Now, father says, I came before the son came. It means that before the son is born, I was there. This is what the father says. The son says, because of me, the father is born. You understood what I say? The son says, I gave the fatherhood to my father. Before my birth, father was no father. Because the father, he became a father when the son is born, no? Till then, the father was not there. Therefore, the fatherhood is depends on son, and the sonhood is depends on father. Now, how can you prove that he is father and he is son? There is no connection because both are dependent on each other, mutual dependence. So this mutual dependency is a wrong logic or the wrong concept in philosophy. If two things, two objects, two substances mutual depend, then it means each one is non-existing. Because father cannot exist. Father as father. The person exists because he was not father before the son was born. Right? This is how it is. So when you say, I see something, so the object is there. How can you say the object is there when you see it? If the seer is there, then the seen is there. If how seer becomes seer? When seen is there, right? The object is there. And when the seen becomes seen, because that object is seen by some seer, right? Now, which is first? Seer is first or seen is first? So they say they are mutual dependent. Therefore, there is no seen, there is no seer. Because the seer denies the seen and seen denies the seer, saying that if seen is not there, then seer is not there. And the seer is not there, then you cannot say this is seen. Okay, so this is the language, this is the style of logic they use. That is why Bhagavad-pada Shankaracharya called them as dry logic experts. So when you read their books, no, you will enjoy it. It's very interesting, but you will not get anything from that. No meaning. Just they do all this like a play. No, they are just playing with the logic. And you cannot deny the logic. The problem is you cannot deny the logic. You cannot say the seen is first and the seer is second. No, it's not possible, because without seen there is no seer, and without seer there is no seen. Without father there is no son. Without son, the father, the person cannot be father. So the logic is perfect. It denies there like that, but it doesn't bring anything there. No experience, nothing. You just play on that. You can just exercise your intellect. That's all. Okay. So Bhagavad Padascha Sushka Tarka Padunamun Ahur Madhyamikan. They are the Madhyamikas. Their name is Madhyamika because they wrote the Karika as Madhyamika Karika. So they follow that, therefore they are called Madhyamikas. Bhrantan Achinte Asmin Sadatmani. So they are Bhrantas. Bhranta means they are confused. They are unable to understand Achintye Asmin Sadatmani. This Atma is Achintya. It is unthinkable, incomprehensible. Therefore, it is Achintya. It is beyond intellect. So one cannot understand by using all these logics, inferences, cannot understand that Brahman. So these logics and inferences do not reach to that Brahman. Therefore, it is called Achintya. Sadatmani, Sadatma. So Sat existence as Atma. Atma and existence is not two different things. Sad Atma, what we call as pure existence, that existence is Atma. So our self-existence is Brahman. Self-existence is Atma. So existence and self is no different things. They are one and the same by nature. So Satchidananda, we already know this. But this self-existence is Achintya. It is beyond intellect. Why? Because the intellect is based on that Brahman. Intellect is working and intellect is getting its existence, its being in that Brahman. Therefore, it is unable to see it, know it. Therefore, these so-called philosophers, so-called logicians, they are bhrantas, they are confused, they are their thought process is stopped in this. Therefore, they say there is nothing. The nothingness is the existence. So, if somebody asks, why they are so foolishly saying all this? Why they are confused? Why they are unable to get the reality? What is the reason? So the next sloka says, Anadritya Shrutim Maurkhyadime Bauddha Tamasvinaha Apedire Niratmatvam Anumaneika Chakshushaha Anadritya Shrutim Maurkhyat Ime Bauddha Tamasvinaha. You see, our Acharya says, Ime Bauddha Tamasvinaha. These so-called Buddhist logicians, philosophers, Shunyavadins, they are tamasvinaha. They are in darkness. They don't know what they are saying. They are unable to see through. They don't know. Therefore, they are tamasvinaha. Therefore, anadritya shrudim maurkhyat. Foolishly, they are not following Shruti, Anadritya, disrespecting the Vedas, Upanishads, Smritis, Vedanta. They follow their own intellect and they entered into this stage. They fell into this confused state of understanding. So, Anadritya Shrutim Maurkhyat. So Murkha means foolish. So foolishly they came to this conclusion that there is nothing exists. Apedire niratmatvam. Niratmatvam means nothingness, substancelessness. There is no existence. It's called niratmatvam. Anuman eka chakshushaha. So, not seeing the Vedanta, they just followed the inference only. Anuman eka chakshushaha. With the eye of inference alone. So, inference alone cannot take you to the reality. So they use dry logic. Their mind is stuck and intellect is stopped. So they are unable to think about the reality, what they are experiencing. Therefore, they entered into this conclusion that Niratmatvam means nothingness is the reality. They entered up with this conclusion. Apetire Niratmatvam Anumaneka Chakshushaha. So that is the problem. Now, this we have to understand in this context. We also use so much of logic. Vedanta and all philosophers, they use logic. Even our day-to-day life, we use so many types of logic, normal logics. But in Vedanta, when we use logic, we follow the statements of rishis according to the Vedanta Upanishad theory. We never go beyond, or we never disrespect what is said in Vedanta. So our logic is in accordance with Vedanta. It is going together with Vedanta. Therefore, what is said in Vedanta, Upanishads, we use logic to understand what is said there. And we use our logic to understand our own experience. For example, our deep sleep experience and dream experience, the outside experiences we have. So we use logic to understand what is there, how we can understand it, our own experience, our own practices. So for this case, we use logic. They are not like that. What they do, they use logic without their experience, and sometimes they go against their experience. That is why it is called dry logic. And they don't follow Veda because they don't accept Vedas as proof of pramanas. They don't accept it. Therefore, they don't follow Vedas. They don't follow rishis. So in this way, their arguments, their logics end up with this niratmatvam. Niratmatvam means shunyata. So they end up with that. Now, okay, so how can you say that niratmatvam is unreal, or what they say is wrong? How can you say that? Now from here, Acharya is bringing that point, because people will ask, how can you say shunyam is wrong? How can you say niratmatvam, nothingness, is wrong? Let it be there. Nothingness is also real. How come it is unreal? So here it is going to be discussed in the next sloka. Shunyamasidi dibrute tadyogam vasadatmatam shunyasya natu tadyuktam ubhayam vyahatatvatah. Shunyamasidi dibrushe tad sadyogam vasadatmatam. Now, what they say, they come to an unfounded conclusion that the ultimately not only is there nothing exists in universe, nothing exists in universe. So you just follow these words. What they say, nothing exists in universe. This is called shunyam. Not only they say this, they go on further and say there is no even a knower of nothing. Means there is no knower at all who affirms that there is nothing. And the knower is also non-existent. Now you see the problem. If there is no knower, how can some say there is nothing? So this, they went to this extent. This denied even the knower is there to affirm that there is something. So this question was asked in Madhyamika Karika of Nagarjuna. I have studied it many years before, but because of their logic, interesting logic, I remember all those what they say. They say this. There the opponent asked, how you understand there is nothing because the person who is understanding is there, no? Then they ask, so they say, no. Even the knower is not there. This nothingness is not known by anybody. Okay, then the next question is asked, then what about your philosophy of nothingness? Is it exists? This philosophy, is this real? Now, when I say my words are correct, then if my words are correct, if I believe that, I have to say my words are correct. But they say, no. Even the philosophy as Shunyata doesn't exist. So the object is not non-existent. Object outside objects is non-existent. The knower is non-existent. And the philosophy which says this is the philosophy, and that philosophy itself doesn't exist. In this way, they want to establish the non-existence as the reality. Therefore, even the Shunyavada is Shunyam. Now, Shunyavada is also Shunyam. So they say Shunyam Shunyamiti. So we say Shunyam Shunyam. You don't think that Shunyam exists. Shunyam is itself is non-existent. Therefore, nothing exists. That's the philosophy. So there the question is asked. This is an important argument from Vedantic viewpoint. You see, when you say Shunyam Asit, now you have to follow the literal meaning. Shunyam Asit, the literally meaning is nothing existed. Shunyam Asit. If you know the Sanskrit grammar, you know some Sanskrit, then you will understand. Shunya means nothingness or nothing, non-being, or something you have to say like that, Shunya. So when I say Shunyam exists or Shunyam existed, so Shunyam Asit. Now two words used, Shunyam and Asit. Nothingness existed. Non-existence existed. Therefore, I changed the word, because when I say non-existent existed, you will think what this is. Change the word. Instead of non-existent, I say nothingness. Oh, just to change the word. Otherwise, it is too difficult to understand. So, nothingness. Also, there is nothingness. Normally we say there is nothingness. So there is nothing. So what it just means, there is nothing. So there we just keep away that there. There means that place, particular ground or something. But there is nothing. When we say is, nothing is there. So the is means existence. Nothing means non-existence. So now how can you say non-existence exists? You are bound to say non-existence is non-existent. Is non-existent is not there. Okay, you are bound to say that. Otherwise, non-existent exists means how can you say that? Because it is contradicting. Non-existence doesn't exist. So you have to deny that. Now, now you see here what here this, how beautifully the Sanskrit words make it. Shunyam asit iti brute. He says you say that there was shunyam. When you say nothing existed, shunyam existed. Okay. Sadyogam va sadatmadam va. Now there are two options. When you say Shunyam existed, there is two options. One is that Shunyam, it means nothing, has come some connection with existence. It means the Shunyam, nothingness, is associated with existence. Okay? You got it? That is called Sadyogam. Sadyogam means Shunyam existed. Shunyam was there. Shunyam is there. Shunyam will be there. So we add all these things. So it means if you want to deny, you have to follow, you are bound to take the existence as a support. So without the support of existence, you cannot deny. The denial need the support of existence to say is, was, will be, all this. Okay. Right? Now that is one option. The second option is sadatmata. Sadatmata means your nothingness or your non-existence is existence itself. Sadatmata. Why? Because when you say nothing exists, you deny existence with existence. Right? Existence with existence. If there is nothing, what you are going to deny? How can you deny if there is nothing? So the nothing cannot be the object of denial. Nothing cannot be the object of denial. If you want to deny something, it should be connected with existence. This is how we understand it. This is how our brain works. So only two options. One option is the non-existence should be associated with existence. That is Sadyogam. And the other option is the non-existence itself is existence. Means there is no two entities as non-existence and the existence, but only one entity as non-existence. It's okay. So suddenly we say this because the person who wants to deny everything is unable to deny the existence, because without that existence, his denial process, his words for denial doesn't work. Okay. Therefore, natu tadyuktam ubhayam vyahadatvataha. You say you cannot take both. You cannot take non-existence associated with existence, and you cannot say non-existence is existence. You cannot say both this. Why? Because this is the both these options are vyahadatvataha, contradicting each other. So due to contradiction, you are unable to even prove that nothingness is the reality. When I say nothingness is the reality, there also I take the support of existence to say is. Now, who can deny himself? That is another point. Who is denying it? The denier is always there. The denier cannot be denied because he is still a denier. Okay. So therefore, the argument here is from Vedantic viewpoint. You cannot deny the existence. You can deny everything else, but the existence cannot be denied. And we call that existence, as Brahman, as Atma. Now you try your whole life with all the types of logics, but all those logics become superficial because the existence cannot be denied with superficial logics. Now, why we need an existence? What is existence means? Now why we are holding this existence? Existence is a generality. Existence we can call existence is a generality of a foundation for anything that we think, that we say, that we act, that we imagine, is founded in this generality of existence. Okay, so that is the definition of existence, what we are discussing about. Now, somebody want to deny the existence, he has to be in that, he has to be in that existence and deny it. Because his thoughts, he needs thoughts, and thoughts are existing. If thoughts are not existing, he cannot deny it. He cannot deny that there is no thought on Shunyam, because Shunyam itself is a thought process, if it is there. Therefore, our existence is a generality of foundation for all the activities in any kind of order, however it may be. So anything, what happens in the mind, what happens in the intellect, all are based on this existence. Therefore, so to say non-existence exists means reputing non-existence and falling on existence. Ultimately, the existence becomes the reality. I hope you could understand something from all today's lecture. Only you have to remember two words. What are they? Which are they? Non-existence and existence. Okay. So there is no non-existence. Ultimately, when you deny non-existence or deny existence, you fall on existence only. When you accept non-existence, ultimately you fall on existence. Now you say it is like a play, no? When you deny non-existence, ultimately you fall on existence, because the denier is there and the thought process is there. We define the existence as the foundation of all the process, all the thought process. So you are trying to deny God. If you are trying to deny God, ultimately you end with God. Because if I ask how you deny God, you know what is God is? If you don't know what is God, then how can you deny what you don't know? And if you say, I know God, then when you know God, you know something. When you say you know, it means you are saying truth. You are experiencing it. I say, I know God. So when you know God, you know something. So that something is God. So when you know it, you cannot deny it. It means God exists. And when you don't know, still you cannot deny it. Because what you don't know, how can you deny? Therefore, this denial process, no, it brings the opposite. It means what you deny, it brings the positive. So therefore, don't take negative attitude, because positive attitude is existing and negative attitude is non-existent. So existence ultimately undeniable. Therefore, existence is Sat. So our word of Upanishad sentence is, statement is, Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asi. Pure existence, pure being is the only reality. Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asi. So you carry this for today's from this lecture. So non-existent and existence, and only existence is the reality. You try your whole life to deny the existence, you cannot deny. So that undeniable existence is Atma, is Brahman. That is you. Okay? Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swami.
Over to you for questions. We have 10 minutes for questions.
Hari Om, Swamiji. Today's discussion, the Shunyavadam, was quite deep, and initially it was a little tough to comprehend, but later with your beautiful explanation, I got it. Thank you so much. That is the first thing I wanted to let you know. It was a very nice logic, nice explanations and everything. One curiosity on this, we mentioned today the Shunyavadam is one of the school of thought out of 4 which came from the Buddha religion.
Yeah.
And so if that is the case, a religion which is an opinion which came much later, so in a Vedantic teaching, how that reference to the Shunyavadam is relevant and why that has come, why it is required to take that as an opinion and try to negate it. Just a curiosity question, not that I did not understand what is.
Yeah, it is because Vedanta is a philosophy. So when one philosophy, if you want to establish one philosophy, the normal terms is you have to compare with other philosophies. You have to answer other philosophers' questions and doubts and clear their opinions, even change their opinions. So all the philosophers did this, And this was a normal process of debate on the subject where there are two different opinions, two different viewpoints. Here, when you take Shunyavada and the Vedanta, the Shunyavada, what they say, that somehow we can say that they have reached the point where there is non-existence of names and forms. So that point they have they just catched it. And similar thing we also discuss in our Vedanta. We say there is no reality of names and forms. Therefore, sometimes people get confused with Vedantic view of denying names and forms and the Shunyavada way of denying the names and forms. Therefore, all our acharyas, all our eminent respected acharyas, in their commentaries of Vedanta, they have took up this point of this Shunyavada and explained it and denied it. Now here also you can see, not only in this chapter, you will see in other chapters also, in many different viewpoints. But this point is cleared in this chapter, because Sadeva Saumya Idamagra is the main explanation of here we have seen. That is how we discuss. Actually, we have no opposition like, but there are chances of confusions and misunderstanding. So we have to make it clear. Obviously, when two different opinions pops up, we take one side. No, one person cannot go with two. One cannot accept non-existence is also right and existence is also right. One cannot say that. So therefore, we have to decide which is real, which is correct, which is more logical, more experiential. So in that context, we have this discussion. So nowadays also this Shunyavada is very famous. It's now spreading. There are many people, they follow this theory. So obviously there are so many questions and confusions. So we clear it by this idea. So these are the shlokas you can quote in connection with this. The logic used is thorough and well established your logic with experience.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Adom Swamiji.
Yeah.
The sloka number 31, whether it is the
31
quotation from Sri Shankara Bhagavad Padar, or whether it comes in the Naishkarmya Siddhi Sureshwara Acharyas.
No,
because different books says differently.
This 29th shloka from Gaudapada Acharya's Mandukya Karika.
Yes, but 31st different authors says different. Yeah.
Yeah, this is different. The idea may be the same, because this idea, this problem is there we discussed in many places. Therefore, it is there in other textbooks as well.
Okay.
Even in Naishkarmya Siddhi, similar thoughts are there. In other works of Shankaracharya is also some thoughts are there.
Okay. Yeah.
Sarvadarshana Sangraha and all.
Thank you, Swamiji. Clear.
Okay, so we conclude here. Okay, thank you. So contemplate on this and The next class, you will discuss, you come up with some doubts or something. If then, we will discuss that later. Om Purnamataha Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.